Donald, in the over 8 years you and I have worked together, we've done big things. We signed a historic deal that has created record jobs and growth in both of our countries. We've done big things together on the world stage, as Canada and the US have done together for decades, for generations. And now we should be working together to ensure even greater prosperity for North Americans in a very uncertain and challenging world. Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
Okay, so game on. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Justin Trudeau, I guess that's the equivalent of a Canadian SmackDown. The only thing he didn't say is, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. What are you doing, everybody? 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669. It's the best radio show you're not listening to, even though you're listening to it. I meant the other guy. Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, not happy with the tariffs. 25% tariffs on Canadian products, 10% on energy. This hits Canada very hard because they bring in our stuff. It hits us less hard that he is engaging in reciprocal tariffs. But what do you expect him to say? I mean, sometimes I'm amazed that people are like, I can't believe that Trudeau said that. You just said to the Canadian economy, up yours. That's what got said by Trump. And so the idea that they wouldn't respond is very odd.
We two friends fighting is exactly what our opponents around the world want to see. And now to my fellow Canadians.
We'll get to the Canadians in just a moment. Tell me more about being friends. Hold on. I am not a tariff guy. I have proven this in every single way. Tariffs are taxes. It is a mistake. Our costs go up. They do. Of course they do. To say otherwise is nutty, is to have absolutely no connection to economic reality. You don't need to be an economist to know this. It's a full-on trade war at this moment. Dr. Matt Will, economist at the University of Indianapolis, is scheduled to be with us a little bit later to break it down. But I want to hear more about Justin Trudeau talk about our friendship. The same Justin Trudeau who lectured the United States and called us sexists for not electing Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton. You think that's an example of being sexist? I think it's an example of the Democratic Party putting up the worst of the worst and saying, here you go, and America saying, nah. The worst of the worst of the worst in those two. I mean, that is what it is. That's not friend talk. Friends don't engage a $50+ billion trade imbalance and say, oh, well. Friends don't tell their own nation that you're not allowed to have a protest, and if you do and you're a trucker, we will shut you down, we'll track every bank account, we'll prevent you from speaking out, and we'll engage in a draconian way if you don't follow our COVID advice, which was made up on the fly. Friends. The Canadians want to let us know that we're friends. Okay. But what does he have to say to Canada?
I won't sugarcoat it. This is going to be tough, even though we're all going to pull together, because that's what we do. We will use every tool at our disposal so Canadian workers and businesses can weather this storm. From expanding EI benefits and making them more flexible to providing direct supports to businesses, we will be there as needed to help. But Canada, make no mistake, no matter how long this lasts, no matter what the cost, the federal government and other orders of government will be there for you. We will defend Canadian jobs. We will take measures to prevent predatory behavior that threatens Canadian companies because of the impacts of this trade war, leaving them open to takeovers. We will relentlessly fight to protect our economy. We will stand up for Canadians every single second of every single day because this country is worth fighting for.
Funny, he sounds just like Donald Trump. I mean, not just a little like Donald Trump. Completely and totally. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that if I were to take the movie Step Brothers, like this is them. Right. But clearly Trudeau is John C. Reilly. And it's like, did we just become best friends? Yes, you did. It's we're going to protect Canadian interests. We're going to protect Canadian workers. We're going to protect Canadian. That's everything Trump is saying. What's the difference? Maybe, Justin, just a theory, big dog. Just a theory there, big shoots. Maybe this all could have been worked out. Maybe you could have taken the man at his word and being very, very serious. But instead, what are you doing? Challenging these illegal actions?
Today, we will also be challenging these illegal actions by filing dispute resolution claims at the World Trade Organization and through the USMCA. But in the meantime, our tariffs will remain in place until the US tariffs are withdrawn and not a moment sooner. And should these tariffs not cease, we are in active and ongoing discussions with provinces and territories to pursue several non-tariff measures, measures which will demonstrate that there are no winners in a trade war.
I don't disagree with that, by the way, and anybody who doesn't understand that, I think, is a little nutty. There are no winners in a trade war. It's not the way it works. There is a pain, except if you can get your people to accept the pain for a better result at the end. And that's the question, isn't it? What's the better result at the end? What is it that comes out of all of this? What is it that America gets? What is it that Trump gets? I understand the rules of Trumpism, if only because I created them. The first rule of Trumpism is that Trump wins. The second rule of Trumpism is that a deal can always be made as long as it adheres to the first rule of Trumpism. Right? These are the facts as presented. Trump's argument is, if I get a better trade deal and lower the imbalance, I win. That's what he's looking to do. So tariffs as tactic has always been the plan. This is very willy-nilly. This is very, put it up there. 25% sounds great. Put it up there. In the interim, everyone's going to pay more. Trump has never fully explained that the tariffs are taxes, and yes, there's going to be a short-term pain, but here's what we're trying to get to. He has never once brought America in with him through explanation to gather people around this common objective, which is economic security and better opportunities for our children and grandchildren. It's always about the children and grandchildren. I think he should, and he might in the State of the Union tonight. But until this is done, everything's going to cost more, and that does have an effect. Trudeau's problem is a larger one. As I discussed earlier, we can outlast Trudeau any day of the week and twice on Sunday. We can outlast Trudeau without thinking twice. We don't have to do we don't have to do anything. Just sit back and breathe deep and let them suffer, because they're going to suffer more than we are. But we are going to pay more. This response from Trudeau does not surprise me. This statement does.
So today, the United States launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense.
Oh, Justin, that's one heck of a statement that you're making right there.
Friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense.
I can try, but I'm not great at trying to make sense of things for you. Wanting a peace deal in Ukraine does not mean that we say of Russia, everything you do is just great. As a matter of fact, it was Donald Trump who in his first term was reminding Europe that you guys are buying natural gas from Russia, you're supporting the war. And now, since it's still happening, is there any doubt that European nations that claim to be concerned about Russia are feeding the dollars to Russia to help them engage the war against Ukraine? So in the world of appeasement, Justin Trudeau, you're the one hanging out with the Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer, and others. Who's appeasing whom? Secondly, knowing that Russia is larger and can do more damage to Ukraine than Ukraine can do to Russia, and wanting a peace deal where you don't start by simply insulting the guy. It's not Trump's style. It's not his way. It is not his want. That is not appeasement. If you're going to argue that Russia says, or if you're going to argue that Russia says not only do we want the whole of Ukraine, we want 4/5 of Poland. Now, if the United States said, well, there's not much you can do about that, well, he's a nice guy, that would be an issue. Sure. I could see that one. That isn't what's happening. Trump trying to make a deal. Yes, it's transactional. Yes, it's a ceasefire that can be busted up by a lying Vladimir Putin at any time. So can any deal. But this is what he got elected to do, and this is what he is trying to do. Trying to get people not killed in Ukraine. This is how he thinks it should work. It's not that I 100% agree with him. It's not that you have to 100% agree with him. But dear Lord, this is how you start a conversation? He's starting a trade war with us and appeasing Putin? You've been taking advantage of American largesse for well over a decade. Donald Trump thinks it should stop. You haven't moved fast enough. He engaged the tariffs. And by the way, I oppose the tariffs. But I swear to you, Prime Minister Trudeau, if you're going to act like a punk ass you-know-what, like this, well, then maybe he was right. It seems that everybody's allowed to talk tough. Zelensky's allowed to talk tough. Trudeau's allowed to talk tough. And somehow Trump's job is just to take it. Do we not understand who we voted for? Because I understand who we voted for. I get what's going down. I get it. And so do you. I don't agree with every policy. I understand why. No, I don't like this. I don't like this trade war. I don't like these tariffs at all. No, I wouldn't pause aid to Ukraine. Absolutely, I wouldn't pause aid to Ukraine. And I will discuss it. I know what I voted for. That people are surprised is very weird. Justin Trudeau, you saw this coming and you did nothing. Now you explain it to your people. And I think Trump in the State of the Union needs to do even more to explain it to his people, meaning us. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today.